My name's Ed Zabrowski and my wife Ann, and we're fortunate to be the parents of a very wonderful young man, our son, born with Down syndrome. His name is Tom.
My name is Rose Flagg. I happen to be the mom of a 34-year-old daughter whose name is Millie.
My name is Val Serby, and we adopted our son Timothy in May of 1990.
Hi, I'm Janine Frovich, and in 1988 in February I was called by the agency, Child and Family Services, that there was a little boy with Down syndrome that was given up at birth, and he had gone for a small surgery and they needed foster parents, and would we be interested? And my husband and I said, sure. We didn't know much about Down syndrome. We see them, but we didn't really know.
Hi, I'm Lorraine. I'm Nick's mom. Your turn.
You.
What's your name?
Well, hi, I'm Nick Cothers. I'm 32 years old.
And I'm Bob Cothers.
In the meantime, we were asked to take another little boy with Down syndrome named David, and he was just almost a year when we got him. And we were elated because they're so precious. They're a gift to us.
I'm Leona Johnson. I was involved in the Down Syndrome Society through some programming I was involved with through Special Olympics.
Hi, I'm Lorraine Badak, and my son Ryan was born with Down syndrome in 1991.
When Tom was born in 1974, services were nil.
There was no organization in Winnipeg that dealt solely with Down syndrome. The closest one was in Calgary.
At that time, people were very much alone.
I realized there's not much out there about Down syndrome. There wasn't much material, much anything. And of course, the internet wasn't quite existing then.
I became a member of the parent-to-parent group, which Rose at that time Rose Flagg was president. When Tim was not quite a year old, we had a small little conference at the medical building at Health Sciences Center. And at that time, it was all parents of children with Down syndrome. We had speech therapists, occupational therapists, and we had Dr. Joel Fagan come from Calgary, because in Calgary they had a clinic for children with Down syndrome. And we raised a little bit of money for that. It was a one-day conference, and with that little bit of money, we met as an organizing committee, and that's how the Manitoba Down Syndrome Society got started.
Lorraine and I attended that meeting, and there was only about, I would say, 15 to 20 people there, and they talked about, what we proposed and everything, and everybody agreed, and that's when it started. But MDSS, we of course would have to go to the national body to prove it and everything.
The next steps were, let's get some people together, let's get the news out. I worked with someone else to make that happen.
So terms of reference, we applied for our charity number, and it was our first little group of parents and me and a few other concerned citizens that got it started, and it was the most wonderful thing to be so involved with the parents.
A chance to share stories and to share ideas, and the younger families coming up whose children had just been diagnosed with Down syndrome really appreciated coming to the group to exchange ideas and to get information, what schools were good, where do you get, what's speech therapy, what does it do?
When Millie was little, I would talk to the parents, and Ann Zabrowski was certainly one of them, because their son is a little bit older than Millie, and I'd hear their stories and their challenges, and I'd go, note to self, when that age comes up, pay attention.
And our goal was to get information out to parents. And so getting pamphlets for parents who had newborns, and to be able to speak to some of them, encourage them.
So we created this beautiful welcome home baby package, and I think we called it Baby First, and it was all the resources, really baby friendly and cheery and really helpful for the new parents.
And a book called Babies with Down Syndrome. That was the very first book that we donated, and then we gave them to all of the delivery suites.
Then when Ryan was about to start school at age 6, I
being a teacher, was like, what can I do to help his teachers? Because this isn't going to be easy for them. It was a long time ago. Inclusion was happening, but not a lot of experience. And I decided that I could do a national or a provincial conference. And I wasn't sure how to go about it exactly, but I figured I should be able to do this. So I contacted the Manitoba Down Syndrome Society, went to a board meeting with a proposal. Everybody was like, yes, this will be awesome. And we started very small with an idea that was different from most conferences. So this was to be a conference for parents and educators together. They would be there in teams. They would sit together. They would have a whole day to focus on that one child that they shared. I can't tell you how impactful it was on the teams. And I know because my team always came. My son's team was there. And although I was kind of like running around, I sat with them and we got to discuss things in a school setting you would never have time to discuss. And I felt like they really knew my child after that. And so educators appreciated it. Parents, I can't even tell you what it meant to parents. But we decided to call it See Me Beautiful. That became the logo of the Manitoba Down Syndrome Society at the time. And it derived from the guidance counselor at my school, who had a group called SAM, Singing Acting Messages. And they sang a song that he wrote called See Me Beautiful. And when we were looking for a logo, that was on the list on the whiteboard, and it's the one that got the most votes. So the conference became that, and a newsletter became that for a while. And and the song is beautiful.
See me beautiful, each and every day. If you would take a chance, then you might find a way to see me shining through in everything I do. See me beautiful. I may be crippled, I may be slow. There's so much more to me, I want you to know. See me beautiful, look past my outside. See my hopes and dreams, and know that I have tried to see the best in you. And all I'm asking you, see me beautiful. You may have brown skin, I may have white, but that's no reason for us to fight.
So that was like in 1997, and that conference still runs today, thanks to a lovely lady named Lori who took over after me.
I'm Lori Lester. I'm Haley's mom. I basically took over for the reins from Lorraine about 15 years ago. All sorts of educational topics from reading and writing and math, fine motor skills, occupational therapy, social and emotional therapy. We've covered the gamut in topics. And each year we try and strive to introduce something new. It's really important to help teachers learn how to teach our population, people with Down syndrome. Who's the special person that you call Grandma?
Baba.
Grandma Joan?
Yeah,
Grandma Joan, your Down syndrome grandma?
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Grandma Joan is Grandma Joan to everybody.
I remember the name that Lori Lester, she called me the goddess of registrations. My name is Joan Giles Kohlbauer. I became involved with MDSS when my first grandchild was born on Christmas Eve, 1998. It was a shock to us that she was born with Down syndrome, but we fell in love with this child immediately. I phoned the Down syndrome office and asked for information. Someone called me back, and before long, the then president, Pam Friesen, came by to my office, which was nearby her house, with a new parent package. And I
went through it tooth sweet and loved all the information. And before I knew it, I was being asked to be on the board of directors. During that time on the board, I learned about an event called Baby Love. Baby Love was a real joy for me because I could see these new parents with babies who were connecting with others with new babies, or even children that were a little bit older, where they hadn't maybe had any exposure to MDSS. We started having it at the church where I attended, and it was fine. We were having like 50 some people at the first one, and then it got to be 100, and then we outgrew the church.
When we went to our first Baby Love event, Lee and Taylor and myself, when we walked in, we saw, we didn't know about Down syndrome and we didn't know what to expect. And when we walked in, we saw Ruth, who was probably in her late 20s at that point, and she has Down syndrome, and she was sitting at the registration table. And I was like, okay, she's talking, she's writing, like she's engaging. And we knew from that moment on that our child was going to have the best life, and he's going to just go on to have a life like any other child would. So it just filled our hearts with hope, and we knew good things were going to happen.
We developed this curriculum, a gym program 1 or 2 days a week, and then swimming. And of course, my first group were 6 young children just walking. All of them had Down syndrome. We call them athletes in Special Olympics. Young athletes at 2.5 years old. It was great. The parents were socializing and really needed the support. The siblings were there too, used as role models. My kids were just learning to walk and all that at the same time. So we were doing this great integrated programming that was really geared to the needs of the participants with Down syndrome, but it was a holistic experience for everybody. Fantastic facility with Pat Middleton, who gave it to us from Panthers Gym Club in St. Boniface. The foam pits, everything. It was fantastic, and that's how it all started. So it grew quickly into these groups of 2 to 4 year olds, 4 to 6 year olds, then 7 and up, because now they're school age. Moved that to Saturday because they're in schools, where the other ones were during the week, because parents are home with their babies, so we could make that work. And then the program grew more and more funding, and it was being recognized actually by Canadian Special Olympics and International Special Olympics. So it ended up being adopted across Canada, and I was sent across Canada to start to develop, we called it then Pee-wee programs. Then International Special Olympics heard about it, and they said, can you please give us some of the programming? So it started in Winnipeg with an idea. Now it's all across the world. What I want to say, it's the parents that trusted us and supported us, and were part of that whole process. And if it's always about the parents, that if they didn't get involved and trust us and wanted to do the best things for their kids, it would have never taken off. So it's great.
Yo, I'm Goat Nichols.
And I'm Karen Nichols. I'm Cole's mom. And we've been a part of the Manitoba Down Syndrome Society since Cole was 2 years old when we moved down to Winnipeg. We started a family day committee, and that was probably the biggest part of my involvement with the Down Syndrome Society, besides being a board member. And with the family committee, we organized all of the events, whether we were going to the Gold Eyes Games, the Manitoba Moose, the petting farms. We would do outings here. We had bouncy structures at the St. Vital Park, at the Duck Pond. But the biggest event, I think, that everybody always looked forward to is the annual dinner and dance.
What is your favorite thing to do in the fall? What do we go to in the fall? Dinner and? Dinner and then a dance. And what do you like about the dinner and the dance? I saw my friend Rose. You see your friend Rose and Daniel? And Daniel. And Janelle? Yeah, Janelle. And Amara? Amara. Hey, and what do you guys do when you're at the dance? Nothing. You don't do anything when you're at the dance? Dancing. You dance, right?
Livewires was a group, parent-free group. We had 2 paid volunteers that entertained our kids. There were probably about a dozen of them. They met in a church in River Heights, and we could drop them off, and then we often had enough time to catch a movie at Grant Park and then come back and pick them up. We sometimes missed the end of the movie, but so those were friends that Nick still has today.
all of the different social events that we've had over the years. And we've had ice cream socials at Red River. We've been to Fort White. We've been to Harborview and had golf day there. We've been to Assiniboine Park, or Camp Assiniboia, and did the ropes course there. We had an event there. And one of Stacy's friends growing up, when Stacy was saying we were going to another family event, apparently her comment to her mom was, "I wish I had Down syndrome too. They have so much fun," right? Which I just thought was hilarious. My name is Pam Friesen. Our first daughter, Stacy, was born in 1992. So somewhere in 1996, I became involved, joined the board, and I started actually as treasurer, and because I like working with money, and that worked for me. And about a year later, the person who was chair at the time had to suddenly step down, and nobody was stepping up. So I found myself in the chair role in 97 unexpectedly, and I did that for a good 6 years.
The first big fundraiser was a ladies only golf tournament, and it was at St. Boniface Golf Club, and we called it the Tulip Tee-Off, and it was a great way to get people outside of our little family of the people involved with this group, sponsors and that recognition, and then all the women in it were some high-profile women in Manitoba and Winnipeg at the time, as well as young women and young professionals and moms and it was putting them all together in teams so that it's not just about raising money, it was about the communication of telling others, like everybody else that's going on, the more education we have in the community of the capabilities of all these individuals with Down syndrome and how we're here to support them to be the best they can be. It was a great outreach in that way too.
We were down on a family vacation in Wisconsin, and we were floating this lazy river, and we ran into this family that had a young person with Down syndrome. And of course, we got to chatting because we had as well. We had Stacy with us. And they told me about the buddy walk that they had participated in down there. And it was hugely successful. And I thought of the years of golf tournament work that I had done, the amount of work that took, and the net benefit at the end of it. And then I listened to this person tell me about this buddy walk and the amazing amount of money that they raised. And it sounded like a whole lot less work than I was doing with this golf tournament. So I came home kind of like, you know what, Ed? I think I need to start a buddy walk here. And so in 2008, we started the buddy walk. This buddy walk was open to families and extended families and friends, and it had this huge network opportunity that the golf tournament didn't have. And so it was just this big party. And we got Fred Penner involved. Don't know if you know, but Fred Penner had a sister with Down syndrome and at an early age passed away. So we had this unique connection with him.
Susie was such an unbelievable addition to our family. She was joyful. She was just so full of life and excitement with everything. She was nonverbal. She could make herself known. Certainly, she could speak and make some sounds, and she made herself very well known, whatever emotion she was going through. So we delighted in her, and the true value of Susie for me was the music that she loved. She would her favorite album was West Side Story, and she would get into the music to such a depth. She was capable of putting a record onto a turntable and getting it started, and we would sit together and listen to West Side Story, and she would, her whole being was coming alive when she was listening to the music, and it would get inside of her to the point of tears, and then she would sort of flop down in front of the record player and cry for a little bit. Then she'd get up and we would, get on with our day. As a teenager, watching Susie so deeply involved with music really made a difference in my awareness of how powerful music is for a human spirit, not just for Susie, but for anybody. And so that stayed inside of me. And as I grew into my career and seeing the value of music in the world that I was dealing with, the families and children that I was singing for, it always brought that closer and closer to home, that music really has the ability to make a difference in the life of a child. And so I attribute much of that philosophy to Susie, and it's just grown over the years. I've played numerous Down syndrome's conferences across the country, certainly involved with the Buddy Walk in Manitoba for many years, and that time in September is, the memories that I have from that are absolutely thrilling. The kids coming up on stage with me and singing songs with me, and just reconnecting with the Down syndrome family in Manitoba has always been such a delight for me, and that participation in the Down syndrome world, certainly carries on now, and I hope to be involved in more events in the future, and that world of Down syndrome is so powerful for anybody who knows it. For people who don't know it, I encourage you to go to a conference and check your ego at the door and come on in and prepare to be loved, because that's the foundation of the Down syndrome world, I believe.
Somewhere along the line, I decided that maybe we should have the Canadian Down Syndrome Society Conference here in Manitoba. So we put in our name for 2002. And again, another labor of love. We called that conference From the Heart. And it brought in over 500 people from across Canada. We had speakers from the US and Canada and local. Lots of opportunities for families to network. Medical, education, dentistry, all different kinds of options for parents to choose. Sessions for moms alone, for dads alone. Siblings, there's a piece for siblings too. So yeah, that was really fun, and I wasn't going to get to do another one, but I know in 2012, I think, somebody else picked up that ball, and there was another wonderful conference here. So yeah, that was great.
Lorraine kicked around the idea in front of the board, and they said, Ken, maybe you could write a song for us that we could use for the conference. And I thought, great, I've written 2 songs in my life, and most people haven't heard them other than Mike. And I said, okay, let's see what we can do, because I'm an imitator, I'm not an innovator.
There's a L'Arche home right around the corner from me. So I would see these people all the time, and they'd walk by, they'd wave, they'd want to say hello, how you doing, and they'd keep going. And suddenly all the words hit me.
When you see me on the street and I wave and say hello, a friendly smile is all I need. It's on my way I'll go. Too often people turn away or pretend that they don't hear, because the things which we don't understand are the things that we most fear. Look with more than just your eyes, then you will discover. Like the man said, you can't judge a book just by its cover. Close your eyes and look at me.
me, let your heart be your guide. Open up the pages, see me beautiful inside. 'Cause on the outside we are different, deep inside we're all the same. We are brothers, we are sisters, though we all have different names. All that I am asking is the same you'd ask of me. Treat me with respect and let me live with dignity.
My name's Kevin Rollison. I'm the father of a 24-year-old girl with Down syndrome. And obviously, through Mary, that's how we came to the Manitoba Down Syndrome Society. What the Down Syndrome Society has brought for us is a sense of fellowship, companionship, being around families that are doing the exact same thing as us, going through the same challenges, the same good times, the same everything. And I've said before that the government and various departments, doctors, the child authorities, the child departments, disability, etc., they do their best to keep families apart from each other because of privacy, freedom of information you don't have, etc., that it's hard to meet other people in the same shoes. So that's why it's nice that there's one organization, the Down Syndrome Society, that we can go to a family dance, we can go to a national conference, we can go for a walk in the park in a sense and raise money. There's all sorts of wonderful things that the Down Syndrome Society brings to us. So we're thankful it's there. There is this wide community association both in Canada and around the world. Let's say we were in Japan 2 years ago when we met a Down syndrome family just on the train type thing. So it's amazing the new friends you meet, the new community you meet.
There was a mom who wanted to know who would her son take to grad when he grew up. And yet he was just a small child. And so she reached out through her social worker and sent invitational letters to a number of families living in the area, identified as also having similar age children with Down syndrome. And we got together and we met in her basement and became known as the Downstairs Gang. And years later, her son took my daughter to grad.
My name is Christine Yunker. I have a son, Taylor Maxwell, who's 7. I became involved with the Manitoba Down Syndrome Society sometime after his birth. The reasons for it is we didn't really have a lot of information about Down syndrome. We didn't really know anybody other than one other family who has a son with Down syndrome. So when we received our parent package from the St. Boniface Hospital, after things had settled down, emotions and everything got in check, we went through the parent package from the Manitoba Down Syndrome Society, and inside was a one-year membership. So we definitely submitted that and became involved as members first. And as time went on, I enjoyed it so much, the social aspect of it, and just being a support for people, other families like ourselves. I just joined the board eventually, and now I am the current president of the Manitoba Down Syndrome and have been for the last couple of years. And it's been a blessing for our family. It's enjoyable, and I'm happy to be there as a support for other families.
Hey, buddy.
My name is Christine Collings. I came to know about MDSS through a package that I received in the hospital when Anna was born. All right. So I was a little nervous, and it was, I thought, great. I'm glad that Winnipeg has a place for me to talk to other parents and get some information about things that I might not know. I've since joined the board of the Manitoba Down Syndrome Society. I have taken on the walk. Every year we do a big fundraiser, our Walk With Us, and so that's been a joy to not only fundraise for MDSS, but see everybody come together. I'm excited to see what Anna likes to do and which way her life is going to go. The doors are open, and you can do whatever you want, right?
My involvement with MDSS gave me a voice, and a powerful voice, that I learned to advocate
And I think because I drew Stacy into a lot of that, she became her own voice, and she can advocate for herself.
My name is Farooq Malik, and I am Daniel's father, Tayyiba's husband, and he's my firstborn. And it was quite the experience as my firstborn. We basically won a lottery in Daniel, and 1 in 1,700 chances that we could end up with a child with Down syndrome, and he has Down syndrome, and also on top of that he was diagnosed with autism at the age of 3 years of age. So 3 years of age. So he has dual diagnosis.
So we went there, we saw a few parents, we saw wonderful people there actually. That impressed us a lot because we saw like adults with Down syndrome, and that made us realize like, no, we have to get involved because these are great people, not good. They are great parents and they have done a lot and their kids are doing so great. They all are very patient. And we were not at that time, so we noticed it. So it was huge for us. I was like, they're all very patient and they're all very calm. How is that possible?
It is a blessing that we have this society, because the people we have met since that day, and the friendship we have forged since that day, they've been amazing. Wonderful kids who have graduated university, who have graduated school, and who are working, living independently, living with spouses. Amazing.
Thomas had some wonderful job opportunities, one of which was at the Wellness Center at the Seven Oaks Hospital. He was there for, goodness knows what, 15 years?
And he's very observant.
Oh.
You know, he really surprises us at how well he reads people and figures them out. And I know growing up that was always a worry, you know, how is the world going to treat him when we're not here? But he's very sharp. He figures out, he reads people well, he knows how to manipulate certain people. He can pretend to be helpless.
You know, when I said, oh, Millie's going to have her own business, when she was in grade 6, I'm sure they all walked away and went, sure she is. And I remember even a resource teacher saying, well, what can she do? And I held back and didn't say anything nasty. I said, well, we'll discover that as we go along. There's many gifts that she has. That's not what I wanted to say. It's the old style of making paper, all done with blenders, and that paper then morphs into art and cards and ornaments. And she has regular patrons, and her work has grown phenomenally. She gets her art, and it's collaborative because we present ideas, we present thought, but the process is, when she makes the paper, it's her choosing the colors unless we need certain colors, right? And then her staff will say, no, we kind of need the greens because we're doing spring themes, right? But she chooses her colors, she chooses her patterning. She doesn't always choose the texture because there's 2 other people working with her. My daughter owns her own home on her own. And she was able to get that because she had the same financial qualifications. We saved money. She has a substantial backup. She has income. Yes, it's from the province, but it's steady. She has a budget. So if she fits all of the criteria, the solicitor we had, she said, no, we're not going to measure the intellect here. She's got a support network. If she fits the criteria, this is okay for me.
Tim is now 31 years of age. So he went to West Kildonan Collegiate, graduated, and with full courses on West Kildonan Collegiate, it was great. Yeah, he could read in school. Nobody really knew because he wasn't talking, but we discovered he could read. And he's very, very good with birthdays and ages. He will tell anybody how old I am. I'll know everybody's birthday. We've got him into supported living because there's going to come a time when I'm not going to be able to care for him 24/7 anymore. And so I had to advocate fairly strongly to get him into the L'Arche home. It's a faith-based home, and it's in Transcona. It's on Kildare Avenue, actually, and he loves it there. He's got 3 other roommates, and he loves it. They love him, and he's doing really well. Criminal Minds, He's got all the series. He loves The Big Bang Theory. He loves Keeping Up Appearances, the British comedy show. Yeah, he's a pretty cool kid.
What have you done for the last 5 years?
I don't know.
Come on.
Campus life, yeah.
What campus life program? At the university.
He's in a special program at the university called Campus Life. It's a program for students with disabilities. They audit the courses. They audit 2 courses a year, one in the fall and one in the spring. And they don't get credits for it, but they can graduate after 5 or 6 years, as long as they have so many courses taken under their belt. And he's done really well. He loved the independence of being dropped off at the university and going to the lectures and meeting other students.
I'm getting coffee.
And going for coffee. I was
Getting
going to say
coffee.
that, Nicholas.
And he had lots of homework to do and wrote exams. They were modified by a tutor who helped him 2 hours a week.
Cool. What do you think you'd like to do in the future?
You know, I'm done married, Mom.
Getting married, yeah.
In a year or so.
And what was one of the big accomplishments that you had before COVID, work-wise?
I don't know.
Working at the cake? Getting paid to work at the cake?
Working.
Mm-hmm.
My brother got me a job there.
Yeah, your brother got you a job, and he was a busser, and he worked there for 8 months before COVID. Yep. So hopefully we'll.
Now I'm not going there now.
Hopefully you'll get back there, but that was a big accomplishment for you. Yeah.
And what did you think of it?
It was fine. Now I'm one of the top bussers now.
One of the top bussers?
Yeah,
Yes.
because one of the buses moved to the post now.
Right. Yep. But so hopefully we'll get back there.
Maybe.
Nice to have a job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially
now, yeah.
Especially if you plan on getting married.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing on my mind. That and kids too. I have my own.
Wow.
Yeah.
Baby steps.
My name is Courtney Sawyer, and these are my parents.
And I'm Rick Sawyer, Courtney's father.
And I'm Lori Lesperance, I'm her mom.
I was asked if I would take on the role of treasurer for MDSS, because the current treasurer was looking to change roles. So after a little bit of cajoling and so on, I decided to do that, and 13 years later, I'm still counting the beans.
I was in a movie during the summer, and I got to meet kids from other families who also was in the movie. So I was able to make new friends.
She joined rhythmic gymnastics and through Special Olympics, and she's been doing that since she was 8 years old, now 19 years old, almost 20. There have been social groups and social clubs, conferences that we've traveled to.
Well, I still want to do more acting because I love acting. I love maybe carving a path of my own, and of course I'll have my parents to guide me. I've been rejected sometimes by the people that I want to be friends with. I had that a couple times in school, but that I don't let it define who I am. I choose to ignore it, and to all those kids with Down syndrome who are watching this, I just want to say that it's okay to be who you are without don't let anyone tell you different. Be who you are.
Sweet.
That's my girl.
Become the person that my parents raised me to be. To be as smart, helpful, thoughtful, and I can be quite, fun, but I can also be hard worker, and maybe free spirited.
Free spirited. That's always good.
For sure.
That's great.
I met my boyfriend, Cole Nichols, through social club because Bert flew, so I was just, well, to be honest, I had a crush. I had a bit of a crush on him first, but I didn't think anything would happen between me and him. But doing stuff together, being together, is kind of how I first had feelings for him. I had feelings for him. He had feelings for me. The feelings mutual, and
bing bang boom.
Bing, bing, bam, boom. I just.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. We're good. That's enough.
Celebrate being a dreamer. Celebrate being real. Celebrate being good friends, telling each other how you feel. That's the foundation for me. So, Manitoba Down Syndrome, I wish you all the very best and congratulations on the 30th anniversary.
Celebrate being a dreamer. Celebrate being real. Celebrate being good friends, telling each other how you feel.
Without the Trailblazers to have taken those first courageous steps to create the Down Syndrome Society, where would we be now?
We're very pleased to see something that we had a hand in helping come about, like the MDSS, continue to grow. We're very impressed with the way it is going from our perspective.
I am very proud that I was part of this group to start it. And I'm really glad to see it's still going and that it's changing and addressing and moving with the times. And stay on that, keep going. You'll make change in ways that you probably haven't even thought of.
We're so excited at the new generation of parents that have stepped up to continue what we did for so long, because we're tired now. We've done a lot.
You are making a difference in the lives of our girls and gals and guys that are Down syndrome, and you're bettering their lives and the families' lives. Thank you again.
Happy anniversary!
Manitoba Down Syndrome
Society.
Manitoba Down Syndrome Society, happy anniversary from Joan and Ron.
30 years! I can't believe it. I'm not even 30.
Congratulations to you. I'm so excited that we got to 30 years and we accomplished so much. Happy anniversary, CDSS. No, I have to do that again. Happy anniversary. Happy anniversary, MDSS.
Happy 30th birthday. We've come a long way and we've got a long way to go.
Happy 30th anniversary, Manitoba Down Syndrome Society. I guess I knew you when you were a little kid of 6.
Happy 30th anniversary, MDSS.
Congratulations! Good? Yeah, we are good. Yeah. Thumbs up?
And cut.
Cut.